Long ago, in the kingdom of Babylon, there was a man named Daniel. He was wise, honest, and deeply faithful to his God. So much so that even King Darius, the ruler of Babylon, trusted Daniel to help govern the entire kingdom. But not everyone liked Daniel. You see, some officials were jealous of Daniel's success. They wanted to get rid of him, but there was a problem. Daniel was so honest that they couldn't find a single reason to accuse him of wrongdoing. So, they came up with a sneaky plan. They went to King Darius and suggested a new law. For the next 30 days, no one is allowed to pray to any god or person except you, O king. If they do, they'll be thrown into the lion's den. Flattered. Meanwhile, the king agreed and signed the law into action. Now, Daniel knew about this law, but he also knew that his loyalty to God was more important than anything else. So, as always, he prayed to God 3 times a day, just as he had done before. The officials were thrilled to catch Daniel breaking the new law. They hurried to tell the king, demanding Daniel be punished. King Darius was heartbroken. He admired Daniel and didn't want to punish him, but the law couldn't be undone. With a heavy heart, he ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. That night, the king couldn't eat or sleep. At dawn, he rushed to the den, calling out, "Daniel, has your God been able to save you?" To the king's amazement, Daniel answered, "My God sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths. They didn't harm me because I was found innocent before him and you, O king." Overjoyed, King Darius praised Daniel's God, declaring him the living God who rescues and saves. And from that day, Daniel's faith and courage inspired the entire kingdom. Daniel's story reminds us of the power of faith and the courage to stand strong, even in the face of fear. When we trust in what is right, even lions can't harm us. Faith conquers fear.
They laugh at me day after day. These hands keep working through the rain. The wood is heavy, my back is sore, but something tells me there's something more. They call me crazy, but I keep building, one nail at a time. Faith is my guide, ooh, my guide. They call me crazy, but my sign, I'll be alright. When neighbors called and shake their heads, he's lost his mind, is what they said. But every morning I rise and go. This art's my purpose, this much I know. Clouds are coming just like he said. I hear them laughing, but I won't dread. They call me crazy, but I keep building, one nail at a time. Faith is my guide. They call me crazy, but I'm not quit. This is my sign, I'll be alright. The rain is falling now, they're not laughing now. I tried to warn them all, but they wouldn't listen. Now the water's rising, rising high. Oh, they called me crazy, but I kept building, one nail at a time. Faith was my guide, faith was my guide. They call me crazy, but I'm still standing. This was my sign, I was right, I was standing here alone, heart beating fast, crown upon my head. But how long will it last? Oh, what if I stay silent? What if I turn away? But something deep inside won't let me walk away. They're my people too. Time slipping by, looking in my heart, finding strength to try. What if I stay silent? What if I turn away? But something deep inside won't let me walk away. For such a time as this, rising up to stand, taking every breath with a trembling hand. What if I stay Something deep inside won't let me walk away. Let me. I will speak, I will. I am yours.
Imagine being called to leave everything you know behind. Your home, your family, your comfort. All because of a promise. That's exactly what happened to a man named Abraham. His story is one of faith, trust, and an incredible covenant with God. Abraham lived in a place called Ur, a prosperous city, filled with the familiar rhythms of daily life. But one day, God spoke to him. He said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." God promised Abraham something extraordinary. "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing." Imagine hearing that. Abraham didn't know where this land was, but he trusted God and set out on the journey. Abraham obeyed, and God led him to the land of Canaan. But years passed, and there was one problem. Abraham and Sarah didn't have any children. How could he become a great nation without an heir? One night, God brought Abraham outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. So shall your offspring be." And in that moment, Abraham believed. He trusted God's promise, even though it seemed impossible. God made a covenant, a sacred promise, with Abraham. He said, "I will give you descendants as numerous as the stars, and this land will belong to them forever." And to seal this covenant, God gave Abraham a new name, changing it from Abram to Abraham, which means father of many. And Sarah, though she was old and had never had children, was promised a son. God's plan was bigger than they could imagine. Abraham's story is a story of hope, a reminder that God's plans are greater than we can imagine. And when we trust Him, amazing things can happen. God kept His promise. Through Abraham, a nation was born, a people chosen to bring blessings to the whole world. His story reminds us that faith means trusting God, even when the road ahead is unclear. It's about believing in promises that seem impossible, knowing that God is faithful to keep them. Many years ago, after escaping slavery in Egypt, the Israelites found themselves wandering in the vast wilderness. They had seen God's power at work through miracles, like the parting of the Red Sea. But now, they needed guidance. a way to live as God's people. And so, they came to Mount Sinai. God called Moses to the top of the mountain, where he would give instructions that would change the course of history. The mountain trembled, and a thick cloud covered the peak as God's presence descended. The commandments began with a call to put God first. You shall have no other gods before me. And they continued, guiding the Israelites on how to live in harmony with God and with each other. These commandments weren't just rules to follow. They were a gift, a way for the Israelites to live in peace with God and one another. They set a foundation for justice, love, and respect that still resonates with us today. A long time ago, in the land of Israel, there was a time of great trouble. The people of Israel were being oppressed by their enemies, the Philistines. These ruthless invaders would raid their villages, steal their crops, and leave the Israelites in fear and despair. The people cried out to God, asking for help. They needed a leader, a hero who could save them, and so God raised up an unlikely hero. His name was Shamgar. Now, Shamgar wasn't a mighty warrior, a king or a general. No, he was just a farmer. But sometimes, God chooses the most unlikely people to do the most extraordinary things. Shamgar lived in a small town and worked with his hands, using an ox goad to guide his oxen as they plowed the fields. It was a simple tool, but God would use it in a way no one could imagine. One day, when the Philistines attacked again, Shamgar knew something had to be done. With his ox goad in hand, he stepped out into the battlefield. Not with armor, not with a sword, but with faith. Shamgar fought bravely, taking on the Philistines alone. And against all odds, he struck down 600 of them. Can you imagine that? 600 enemies, defeated by one man with nothing but a simple farming tool. Shamgar's victory wasn't just a result of his skill or strength. It was a sign of God's power. God gave Shamgar the courage and the strength to fight when it seemed impossible. Through Shamgar, God showed that with him, anything is possible, even with the most unlikely of heroes. Thanks to Shamgar, the Israelites were freed from the Philistine oppression, and peace came to the land. So, what can we learn from Shamgar's story? It's simple. God doesn't always use the powerful or the famous. Sometimes, he uses the ordinary, people just like you and me. No matter how small or insignificant we may feel, with God's help, we can do great things. It's not about our strength. It's about trusting that God is with us, even in the most difficult moments. And that's the story of Shamgar, the farmer who became a hero. He reminds us that God can use anyone to make a difference. All we need is faith, courage, and a willingness to step up when the time comes. So the next time you face a challenge, remember Shamgar. You may not have a sword or armor, but you have something far more powerful. God's strength inside of you.
They took everything from you, left you alone in the cold. Your brothers turned away that day when strangers came with their gold. But even in the darkest night, something calls from high above. Through iron bars, a distant light reminds you of their love. Through these walls I see the stars. They shine for you and me. Beyond these chains, beyond these bars, is who we're meant to be. Who we're meant to be. You rose up from the ashes then, found favor in their eyes, till jealous hearts conspired again and filled your world with lies. But in this cell you're not alone. The same stars guide your way. Your gift will lead you to a throne. Just trust and watch and pray. Through these walls I see the stars. They shine for you and me. Beyond these chains, beyond these bars, is who we're meant to be. Who we're meant to be. Your time is coming. Your day will dawn. Through these walls I see the stars. They shine for you and me. Beyond these chains, beyond these bars, is who we're meant to be. Who we're meant to be.
Imagine being ripped away from your family, betrayed by the people you trust the most, and sold like an object. That's what happened to Joseph. His own brothers, jealous of their father's love for him, sold him to traders heading to Egypt. And just like that, Joseph's life took a dramatic turn. Joseph ended up in Egypt, a foreign land where he didn't know anyone. He was sold to a man named Potiphar, an official in Pharaoh's court. Now Joseph could have given up. Who wouldn't? But instead, he chose to work hard, trust God, and do his best. And you know what? That hard work paid off. Potiphar noticed Joseph's honesty and talent. He put him in charge of everything he owned. Things were finally looking up for Joseph, until trouble found him again. Potiphar's wife tried to trick Joseph into doing something wrong, but Joseph refused. He stood his ground and stayed true to his morals. But she didn't take rejection well. She lied, accusing Joseph of something he didn't do. And Potiphar threw him into prison. In prison, Joseph could have given in to anger or despair, but once again, he chose to trust God. And just like before, God was with him. Joseph earned the respect of the prison warden, who put him in charge of other prisoners. It was in that prison where Joseph's gift for interpreting dreams caught the attention of Pharaoh himself. Pharaoh was troubled by strange dreams no one could interpret. Dreams of fat cows and skinny cows, of healthy grain and scorched grain. Joseph explained that the dreams were a warning from God. 7 years of plenty would be followed by 7 years of famine. He didn't stop there. Joseph also offered a plan to save Egypt from disaster. Pharaoh was so impressed, he made Joseph second in command over all of Egypt. From a slave to a prisoner, and now a leader, Joseph's life was a roller coaster. But through it all, Joseph trusted God and kept doing what was right, no matter the circumstances. Joseph's story reminds us that even when life feels unfair, God has a bigger plan. We might not see it right away, but if we stay faithful, He can turn our struggles into something amazing. If you liked this video, subscribe to the channel to find out how the story ends. And thanks for watching. Long ago, in the land of Egypt, a group of people called the Israelites were living as slaves. They were forced to work long hours, building cities and monuments for the powerful Pharaoh. Their cries for freedom filled the air, and God heard their suffering. This is the story of Moses and the Great Exodus, a story of faith, courage, and liberation. It all began with a baby named Moses, born at a time when Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be killed. Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set him adrift on the Nile River. Pharaoh's own daughter found him, took pity on him, and raised him as her own in the royal palace. Moses grew up surrounded by wealth and power, but deep down, he never forgot his true identity. One day, Moses saw an Egyptian taskmaster beating a Hebrew slave. Unable to stand by, Moses intervened and killed the Egyptian. Fearing for his life, he fled Egypt and settled in the land of Midian. There, he became a shepherd and started a new life. But God had a bigger plan for Moses. One day, as Moses tended his sheep, he saw something extraordinary. A bush that was on fire, but wasn't burning up. As he approached, God's voice called out from the flames, "Moses, I have seen the suffering of my people. I am sending you to Pharaoh to demand their freedom." Moses was scared. He argued with God, saying he wasn't the right person for the job. But God promised to be with him, and even gave him miraculous signs to prove his power. With his brother Aaron as his spokesperson, Moses returned to Egypt. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh with a simple message from God: "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was hard. He refused, and so began a series of plagues that struck Egypt. Plague after plague fell upon Egypt, 10 in total. Each one showed God's power and Pharaoh's stubbornness. Finally, after the 10th plague, the death of every firstborn in Egypt, Pharaoh relented. Broken and grieving, he told Moses, "Take your people and go." With Pharaoh's permission, the Israelites set out on their journey to freedom, but their escape was short-lived. Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army to chase them. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's forces. In that moment of fear, God told Moses to raise his staff. When he did, the waters of the Red Sea parted, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. They walked through, walls of water on either side, while Pharaoh's army followed. But as soon as the Israelites were safe, the waters crashed back, swallowing the Egyptian army. The Israelites were finally free. They sang songs of joy and praised God for his mighty deliverance. But their journey was far from over. They would spend 40 years in the wilderness, learning to trust God and follow his ways. Moses became a great leader, guiding the Israelites and teaching them God's laws. The story of the Exodus reminds us of the power of faith, the importance of standing up for what is right, and the truth that God hears the cries of the oppressed. If you like this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you loved? Imagine being sold into slavery by your own brothers. But what if that betrayal led to something greater? This is the incredible story of Joseph, how a painful past turned into a powerful purpose. Stay tuned to see how Joseph's faith and forgiveness changed everything. Joseph, now second in command to Pharaoh, saw his brothers and immediately knew who they were. But instead of revealing himself right away, he decided to test them. Had they changed? Were they still the same men who betrayed him? Joseph spoke harshly to them, accusing them of being spies. His brothers, terrified, pleaded their innocence. They even mentioned their younger brother, Benjamin, who had stayed behind with their father, Jacob. Joseph secretly placed his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. As they left, his guards stopped them, claiming someone had stolen from him. When the cup was found in Benjamin's bag, the brothers were devastated. Then, something amazing happened. Judah, the same brother who once sold Joseph into slavery, now offered himself as a slave in Benjamin's place. This act of selflessness proved that they had changed. Joseph couldn't hold back any longer. He broke down in tears and revealed his true identity. "I am Joseph, your brother. Is my father still alive?" The brothers were stunned and terrified. But instead of punishing them, Joseph reassured them. "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." He had been sent ahead to save lives, including theirs. Joseph invited his entire family to move to Egypt, where they would be safe and provided for. What once seemed like a story of betrayal became a beautiful picture of forgiveness, redemption, and God's perfect plan. Joseph's story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, God is working for our good. No matter what trials we face, forgiveness and faith can turn pain into purpose. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs encouragement today. See you next time for more inspiring Bible stories. In a time long ago, Israel was in trouble. The people had turned away from the true God, and instead, they worshipped a false god named Baal. King Ahab and his wife, Queen Jezebel, led them down this dark path, and Israel was lost in idolatry. But God wasn't done with them yet. He sent a prophet named Elijah to speak his truth. Elijah wasn't just warning them. He was about to show everyone just who was in control. One day, Elijah called all Israel to meet him at Mount Carmel. There, he challenged the 450 prophets of Baal to a contest, a showdown. The idea was simple. Both sides would prepare a sacrifice, no fire allowed, and whichever god answered by sending fire from heaven would be the true God. The prophets of Baal went first. They built their altar, laid the wood, and put the bull on top. Then, They started shouting to Baal, calling on him to send fire. They shouted for hours, from morning until noon, but nothing. No fire, not a spark. It was Elijah's turn. He rebuilt the altar of the Lord, something that had been torn down. He placed the sacrifice on it, then did something extraordinary. He told them to pour water, lots of water, over everything, 3 times, until the altar, the wood, and even the trench around it were soaked through. And just like that, fire from heaven. It was a moment of pure, undeniable power. The people fell on their faces, amazed. His wasn't just about fire. It was about faith. Israel had turned away from God, following idols that could do nothing for them. But that day, they saw the truth. And soon after, the rains returned, ending the drought. Elijah's story reminds us to ask, what are we putting our trust in? The world offers many false gods, money, success, status. But only the true God has the power to answer, to provide, and to change lives. If this story spoke to you, take a moment to think about where you're placing your faith. And if you want to hear more powerful stories like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us next time. Jonah was a man on a mission, or at least he was supposed to be. See, God gave him a job. Go to the city of Nineveh and warn the people to turn from their wicked ways. But Jonah? He wanted nothing to do with that. Instead of obeying, he ran in the opposite direction. He hopped on a ship sailing far away, thinking he could escape God. But God had other plans. As the ship sailed, a massive storm hit. Waves crashing, wind howling, the whole thing nearly breaking apart. The sailors were terrified. They figured someone must have angered a higher power, so they cast lots to see who was responsible. And guess what? Jonah was caught red-handed. He admitted that he was running from God and told them, "If you want to save yourselves, throw me into the sea." The moment Jonah hit the water, the storm stopped. But just when he thought it was all over, gulp! He was swallowed whole by a huge fish. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah sat in the belly of that fish. He prayed, he repented, and he finally realized he couldn't run from God. So God gave him another chance. The fish spit Jonah out onto dry land, and this time, he went straight to Nineveh. He warned the people just like God told him to, and surprisingly, they listened, they repented, and God showed them mercy. But Jonah, he was not happy. He wanted them to be punished. That's when God reminded Jonah of something important. His mercy isn't just for a few. It's for everyone willing to turn back to him. Jonah's story isn't just about a big fish. It's about second chances, about God's mercy, and about learning that we can't outrun his plans for us. So, what about you? Are you running from something? Maybe, just like Jonah, it's time to turn around. If you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel, and thanks for watching.
Long ago, after the Great Flood, humanity lived together as one. They spoke the same language, shared the same words, and built their lives in unity on the vast plains of Shinar. But their unity was not what it seemed. One day they had an idea, an ambitious idea. They said to one another, Come, let us build a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves so we won't be scattered across the earth. It wasn't just a tower they were building. It was a monument to their own pride, their own power. They wanted to challenge the heavens. They wanted to prove they didn't need God. But God was watching. He saw their hearts, how their ambition had turned to arrogance, how they thought they could reach the divine with their own hands. And so God said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun this, then nothing will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other. Suddenly they couldn't understand one another. The unity they had taken pride in was shattered. The work on the tower ground to a halt. Unable to communicate, they scattered across the earth just as God had intended from the beginning. The tower came to be called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. It stood as a reminder of what happens when human pride tries to take the place of God. This story isn't just about a tower, it's about the dangers of pride, the importance of humility, and the truth that no matter how high we try to climb, we are always meant to look up to Him.